a couple months, but the Mike Scully Show. I'm Mike Scully, and I'm glad to be back live on the air. We'll be back in studio here eventually with my guys, Elliot Sikowski, my boy Trick, the Alabama Slammer, and the Hillbilly, Sean O'Rourke. But I have been battling some health issues. Had a little metastatic melanoma. And ended up having a little brain surgery, so I've been on injured reserve and doing my due diligence and working really hard for my guys at Baycrest Consultants and my partner Elliot. But there's so much going on, from on a personal level, on the national sports level. I don't even want to get into politics because that is just a total crock of shit what's going on right now in Washington, D.C. And I don't care what side you sit on, they're both wrong. But this afternoon, on a personal level, Jack Scully goes to the bump with his good man Cash Dooley coming behind him. Cash Money, as I call him. The Swarm Red Elite playing out there in the desert in a little Easton Woodbat Classic to wrap up their travel baseball careers. So I wish them the best of luck. They're playing 3 o'clock Pacific time. Just came back from a huge trip. Last father-son travel ball trip. The kids had such a great summer. They qualified for the big event, the 18U event in Jupiter, Florida. One of the most incredible things I've seen. Was also the last perfect game event that they're going to play, and thank fucking God. That I started that with my oldest boy a decade ago, and that has turned into the largest money grab of any travel parent's nightmare. When you got to pay $80 for 5 days to watch your own kid play. Everything is just out of whack. But the event that they happened to run in Jupiter with all of the scouts, both professional and college, the baseball that was played was insanely good. Very proud of Jack and his team. They competed hard, went 2-2 for the week. But just the level of baseball that was played was incredible. These kids are insane. I think they had 5 kids over 100 miles an hour between 16 and 18 years of age. But perfect game, shame on you. Horseshit facilities, overcharged on everything. The weather was crap. The parking was crap. It was just a money grab. But the baseball, absolutely incredible. But sooner or later, they're going to have to figure that out. They got to move that to Arizona. Phoenix, the Cactus League, has the far superior facilities. I just give a perfect example. We didn't make it out of pool play. And my son had a couple of schools that were communicating with him on Saturday night and were interested in coming and watching him again play the consolation game on Sunday. Well, we're based in Jupiter. Where do they send our consolation game? To fucking Vero Beach, 70 miles from the original destination or where we played. And just insane. So we're still communicating with those folks and get in front of them, but now they're in a dead period where they can't come watch. So that's my travel ball story as a father and my venting about perfect game. Somebody they have to figure something out because it's completely out of whack. Tonight, stay in that high school realm. Cactus Shadows High School, my son's high school, has their homecoming game. And I want to give a big shout out to my boy Alex Daphnis. You keep doing what you're doing, kid. Things are going to work out. You're going to be playing college football somewhere. You're doing a hell of a job. So I hope you and Donovan go up for 4 touchdowns tonight and have a hell of a homecoming game. And then you kids be safe tomorrow night at the homecoming dance. Who watched the Pittsburgh and Cincinnati game last night? How about that? Incredible. Aaron Rodgers, always been a huge Aaron Rodgers fan. Jackie's a diehard cheesehead. Has been an Aaron fan for a long time. And Joe Flacco, 40 and 41 years old. Those two look like they were in their mid-20s playing last night. And the precision passing. What happened to Pittsburgh's defense? Jamar Chase and T. Higgins just ran all over them. But it was battle back and forth. The problem Pittsburgh had at the end is they scored too fast. When they had the breakdown in that coverage on Cincinnati and Aaron was able to hit Freiermuth for the touchdown. I think he knew it walking off the field after his tight end tackled him and he got all pissed off. But I think he knew standing on the sidelines with a minute 42 that they scored way too fast. Somehow, some way, Coach T, and I'm a huge Mike Tomlin fan, is going to have to figure out that defense. They're sitting at 4-2, top of the division. They've won that game last night. they pretty much put them away. Baltimore's dealing with injuries with Lamar. Schedule shakes out in Baltimore's favor. We'll see. Can Flacco keep up that same performance with those receivers? I wouldn't bet against him. Those two kids are pretty incredible. Jamar Chase, I don't know who can cover him. And Jalen Ramsey, who's a hell of a defender, just couldn't get it done last night. And pass rush, I think TJ got home once, maybe twice the whole game, and wasn't even really in a disruptive mode. So they're going to have to figure that out. Moving into Saturday in college football, we got a couple of huge games in the Southeastern Conference. You've got Ole Miss and Georgia in Athens. Game day's going to Athens. I think the Fox station with their big noon kickoff, I think they're going to Utah for the Holy War between Utah and BYU. But you got Ole Miss, Georgia. I'm even though I'm an older guy, I'm kind of a Lane Kiffin fanboy. I just love that man. I like his style. I love his love for Nick Saban. Same love I have for Coach Saban. But going head to head with his old partner, Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs. The Dogs can't lose. Dogs lose, they may be out. And they're a good football team. And they've got them at home between the hedges. So let's see how that one shakes out. And then obviously the third Saturday in October every year is Tennessee, Alabama. Alabama's now, I think, has found their stride. The Simpson kid is freaking incredible quarterback. He's turned out to be an incredible quarterback after that struggle, that first one. Everybody thinks, that Florida State kicked their ass. No, Florida State played great and controlled a lot of it. But there was a situation where Alabama got to within a touchdown in that game. And if you pay attention closely, they stopped them, but then had a personal foul penalty, which allowed Florida State to keep the ball, and then Florida State ended up scoring that stretched that out to make it look a little wider than it was. So everybody was down on Alabama right away, and I just wasn't buying it. We'll see how things shake out, but that should be a hell of a football game. And then, with what I do professionally now with Baycrest, we're working with athletic directors on recharacterization of income so the universities avoid excise tax, and we help coaches drop that number down. And we're working with buyouts, but I spent a lot of my time in the last couple weeks on dealing with coach buyouts. And I don't understand the midseason firings. And are these fan bases so fickle? Let's use Coach Franklin, for example. 3 weeks ago, going into the Oregon game, he wins that. They're probably odds-on favorite. They're going to be a top seed in the college football playoff. Loses a hell of a football game in, I think, double overtime. And then doesn't have the team prepared the following week. That one, shame on. But then the Aller kid gets hurt last week. They lose to Northwestern, which nobody ever likes to lose to Northwestern, because back when I played at Illinois, Northwestern sucked. But they've had ups and downs, just like my Illini have. Brett's got to win a couple of the big games. He's gotten us to the point where we can play in the big games, but we got to finish through and win that. The Ohio State game, they played terrible in the first half. But to get back on, I don't want to get on my soapbox, but the coach firings and then these buyouts that are being put on these universities that are then probably most likely put on the backs of the alumni is what we're learning in helping these universities make these buyouts. Go back to Texas A&M with Jimbo Fisher. $77 million. With what we do, they can recoup it all. So if you're interested in this side of the podcast here, give me a shout out, mscully at bakerestconsultants.com. But you got Penn State, Oklahoma State. Coach Gundy went to school there, was an all Big 12 quarterback, spent 36 of his 54 years on this planet, or 58 years on this planet, on that campus, and then just unceremoniously shown the door. And then poor Billy Napier, hell of a football coach, great roster. The quarterback, he ain't worth a shit. So they need to reevaluate that. That's the talent they have on the lines for both offense and defensive, and in the skill kids, incredible. That quarterback's not going to win you 11 games in a year. I'm sorry. Seems like a really nice kid. I don't ever like to diminish the person, but he is not the quarterback to lead you to a national championship. So you Gator fans, you're putting your chances of what you believe, your believability of winning, is way higher than it actually should be. And Billy's a hell of a coach. But, he's been on the hot seat, and they've been talking buyouts about at Florida with Strickland having what he has to deal with day in and day out. They'll go out and win a game they shouldn't win, and then they'll lose a game they shouldn't lose. Virginia Tech fired their coach 3 games in. Arkansas did it, I think, 3 or 4 games in. And you're going to probably have 6 or 7 more that get fired. Who's going to take the Penn State job? And why would Matt Rule leave Nebraska? How has Nebraska changed? Nebraska should be a destination job. Back when I played in college, Tom Osborne, Nebraska was the cream of the crop. I thought he's gotten them back to that point where they're on the on the rise to being back to being that destination job. Now I know Matt, I believe, grew up in State College, went to Penn State. They're going to throw probably $100 million at him to come and do that. But why would you leave Nebraska to go to Penn State? You're playing in the same conference, same ability. I think you have I don't know about better chance of what you're recruiting the kids, but I think Matt's got himself on the uprise and the upswing. So that'll be interesting to see how that one plays out. But college football, that's my favorite sport. God, I love it. I played in the NFL for a cup of coffee, but really don't enjoy watching it all that much. I love watching it solely probably because of our Cats and Jammers Fantasy Football League I get to do with my son. Other than that, I can give 2 shits on Sunday who's playing who, because it's out of whack in the NFL, and some of their political beliefs just don't align with mine, and just can't stomach it. So it's tough. So, but we're getting my top fans, but so like I said earlier, just a little quick Friday update. We're back in the saddle soon, back down there in Fort Myers, get in the studio and get my boys back talking all kinds of sports. And now that, I'm finally on the mend, but I wish everybody a great weekend watching some great college football and watch a little NFL football. And I'll be back next week for another update, and we'll keep you going. Thanks for tuning in to the Mike Scully Show.